Good evening, Gabbie.
Good evening, TC, and welcome all to our weekly podcast, The Curran View, with the Isle of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. And if you're listening free to the first half on either Acast or Spotify, you can follow the links on our socials and access the full podcast via either Apple or become a Patreon, all the w's.patreon.com/SRBmedia, or follow the podcast on Twitter at Curran View. On Facebook, The Curran View, or join the group that's just gone over 3,000 strong now, TC. So thanks very much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. Steady away, how are you, mate? What kind of week you had?
Yeah, not too bad. I've gone past being steady away. We're getting to some of the truth what's happening in the world. So I'm getting. I'm feeling a bit more confident about what's going to happen to
Absolutely.
us and the rest of the world.
Absolutely, TC. And the sun is shining here in Birmingham. It's a little bit cool or cooler. The temperature has dropped a little bit. There's a suggestion it might even snow later on in this week. Then we'll get into April and the nicer weather will arrive. The Grand National will be here. The Football Cup semi-finals around the corner and the football season's coming to an end. So we're just getting into the silly season where we have some daft results and none dafter than at Wrexham the weekend. But what magic moments did you source for us this week, TC?
Well, I've only seen one goal better than this, or free kick better than this in my life, and that was the Carlos. What's his name? The Brazilian what scored the free kick against Carlos.
Roberto Carlos.
Roberto Carlos.
Yeah.
Gareth Bale free kick.
Brilliant.
The other night. I don't think a magnet could have pulled it away from the net because it went that fast.
Yeah.
And dipped and everything. It was absolutely. I mean, to say. We know the ability he's got. Well, it's not the ability he's got. We know he's a world-class player. End of.
Yeah.
That proves that with winning 3-4 European Cups, whatever he's won.
Something like that, yeah.
You know, to get probably Wales to the first World Cup finals for years, and not being playing on a regular basis, yeah. I find it incredible. You know, I'm not saying it's not his fault and all. I'm not saying that because we don't know. We don't know what's happening at Real Madrid. We don't know what really goes off. But how anyone could have someone with his technical ability to be able to score goals from anything, or score goals out of nothing, from anywhere in the pitch, right? I find incredible. If you remember when Mourinho was at Tottenham, I was saying the same thing. How he's not playing, yet he scored about 12, 13, 14 goals or something like that. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he did. He come on loan, didn't he?
Yeah, and Mourinho wouldn't pick him. So I find it incredible what these managers do to these certain types of players. I just find it baffling.
Yeah, I do. You're right. I mean, there was Mourinho, then there was Zinedine Zidane that seemed to have a problem with him. He's gone back. There's new management there at Real Madrid. He hasn't been getting his place there as well. Carlo Ancelotti, isn't it, the manager of Madrid at the moment? So, there's 3 different managers that haven't picked him. But Wales have always picked him. Yes, he is the big star player at Wales, but looks every inch the superstar when he puts that Wales kit on. And you're right, TC, when he played for Tottenham, he scored the goals. No, I've never seen him have a bad game.
I've never seen him have a bad game. I've never seen him have a bad game for Real Madrid.
No, I haven't. You just don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Well, we do know one thing. We do know one thing, which is a fact.
Yep.
And it's a fact. This is not, misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
The Spanish media have had it in for Gareth Bale for a long, long time.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
Right? Now, it may be that's the problem where some managers are frightened to play him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's put a lot of pressure on the fans because there's something not right. And Mourinho's a different kettle of fish. For me, Joe Cole would have been one of our greatest players.
Yeah.
Right? They played him up wing. He'll never be a winger. Whatever, I've got an hole in my backside.
Yeah.
Right? He was a number 10 let him go and play, and he would have been a big difference in making and scoring important goals on big occasions because he got that technical ability.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Mourinho thing apart. I'll put that aside because Mourinho's like that with all that type of player. I'm in charge and we'll do as I say or you won't play.
Yeah.
And I thought Mourinho practically didn't help. Yeah, I can't say he ruined him because he still had a great career.
Mm-hmm.
But Mourinho, for me, ruined Joe Cole. But with Bale, I think the media has something to do with it. But maybe one day we'll get to the bottom of it. Maybe they get to the bottom of it, and maybe that Gareth Bale, and it's my second guess. I'm second guessing this, is the amount of money he's getting, and the way how the Spanish. I'm not saying the club have. I don't know, but I know the Spanish media have absolutely crucified him.
Yeah,
and he's like, "So I'm going to stick this out. I'll get me £500,000. Well, not 500,000. I think whatever he's earning a vast amount of money there.
Absolutely.
I'll stick this out and I'll just show you lot. Because it's a crying shame to see a player with that technical ability not to be playing week in and week out. Whoever it is, at any football club, is that one of the best clubs in the world, if not the best club in the world? And there's no way that anybody in that team really could push him out of the team. So there's something radically wrong.
Absolutely, too. So he's addressed it, hasn't he? With I think it was Marca, the Spanish newspaper, that called him a parasite, and he has had a little pop back, but you shouldn't have to because Gareth's had a great career, fantastic, one of Wales' greatest ever players, and one of the best players that we've sent abroad, as you said. He's won many league titles with Real Madrid. He's won the Champions League, I think it's 3 times. Scored in 2 finals, so he's had a glorious career, and if any of us had half the career he's had, we'd be happy.
What about the old red kick in the final? The goal he scored.
Absolutely, sublime. Yeah, he scores all different kinds of goals.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
He is an elite football player.
Yeah, 100%.
He's an elite football player. What's got everything: power, strength, ability, the knowledge of the game. There's nothing he does not have not to play in one of the elite teams, whether it's international level with Brazil, Spain, France.
He's a world-class player, isn't he?
He's just a world-class player. Oh, he said, regardless what anyone says, he's a world-class player. And it's not. Listen, I know it'll not be all his fault. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But everybody, you can't say anything because they'll just fine you.
Yeah.
But the club and the manager and the media can write whatever they want about you. You ask Woody about anything like that, Woody will tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. So they they seem to have artistic license and say what the hell they like, and mud sticks at times. But
when you sign the contract, Gabbie, you sign the contract that you cannot criticise the football club or the manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
The manager can criticise you.
Yeah, I know. If the sauce is good for the goose, it must be good for the gander. But it just doesn't work that way in football, unfortunately. My magic moments, there was a few this week, TC. Jamie Proctor's goal for Port Vale. That scissor kick that he done, a little bit of a Di Canio moment for him. Tremendous goal.
Great goal.
Paul Smiley's goal for Orient. The ball. It was just into that left channel. One of the goalies come out. He's got it, and he's just dinked it over. It was just a sublime goal. Brilliant, fantastic. Christian.
I don't mention them a lot. I do mention them, but I don't pick them out. But not because of other than the A leagues, the Premier Leagues, and Championships, But with the TV cameras, all these grounds, we do see some spectacular goals from the Conference League or National League, whatever it is now. We see some spectacular goals, don't we?
Absolutely, TC. And you're right, they're all recorded these days, which is absolutely great. Another goal that was recorded, and I saw it, Christian Pulisic's goal, his 3rd goal for America. That was, what a touch, great balance, composure, and he just sticks it in. That was the 3rd goal in his hat-trick, and if America avoid getting beaten by more than 6 goals against Costa Rica, they follow Canada to the World Cup finals, and that's absolutely fantastic.
They will be.
And
They will be going.
Oh, absolutely, because Anthony's one of the coaches there, Uddy's youngest lad. So well done to America, and well done Christian Pulisic. Again, another player I think is a tremendous player. He had that bad injury at Chelsea, and perhaps now he's just getting back to full fitness. And the World Cup, a stage like the World Cup, is a place where players like Christian Pulisic should play. And next time around, America, Mexico, and Canada are hosting, so they'll all be there. They don't have to qualify for next tournament. But the biggest magic moment for me, and I thought a touching moment. Football and sentiment don't go hand in glove for me in football. But I thought Christian Eriksen's goal with his first touch was just a script from Boy's Own. It was a fantastic strike, and when we watched the Euros and saw that awful, tragic moment of Christian Eriksen, where he actually died on the football pitch and then was brought back to life, to come on and with his first touch score a goal for Denmark, I thought it was absolutely fantastic and wonderful to see Christian back on a football pitch for his national team and scoring goals as well.
People always say to me, "What do I look for in a footballer? Or what do I think? What do I think? What makes great footballers?" And you've just hit the nail on the head. It's called balance.
Yeah.
Because you watch anybody what's got that balance, whatever it is, cricket, Shane Warne,
Technique, yeah.
not naturally fit, carried a little bit of weight, but the balance of him when you watch when he goes running up to bowl a ball or spin it, whatever he's a spinner. Tennis, you watch the balance, how they get into the position where they need to be. Tennis, they always got to get back to the tee. And you watch footballers, the ones who's got the balance. Well, if they've got the balance, they'll have the touch, they'll have the awareness of everything, what's around them. They'll understand the game. They'll see the bigger picture of everything. They've got that 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 passes in front of them. And what I mean that 5 passes where they could split a team open by putting 5 or 6 players out of the game. So for me, it's balance. And if you've got that balance, then you've got a footballer on your hands. And if you can get 20 in your team or in your squad, it's always going to give you the big advantage.
Absolutely, TC. Moving on to Book Corner in association with myfootballbooks.com. Andy's recommended book this week, another player with great balance, a Welsh player as well. A book called Football Wizard, the story of Billy Meredith by John Harding. Now, Billy was way, way, way before my time, but again, it's another book that I'm going to buy because I want to know more about the career of Billy Meredith. I've heard so much about him. He's in our Time Vault later in the podcast, but he always gives me an on this day as well. And on this day, Billy Meredith played his last game for Manchester City in a semi-final against Newcastle United. He was 49 years of age, the oldest player to play in the FA Cup and the oldest player to play for Manchester City. And also on this day, a young man who was only about 23, 24 joined Sheffield Wednesday 43 years ago, TC.
Who's that, Gabbie?
Dunsbury Owl posted it up and I thought, got to retweet that. God, where's that time go, TC? I remember watching Star Soccer and you, Johns, talking about this rebellious young Nottingham Forest striker, Terry Curran, and since that game, and I can't remember what game it was, it may well have been the Sheffield United game that you destroyed them. I looked at that young lad, Terry Curran, I thought he's a player. 43 years ago.
I can't, when I look at it, I was 6 or 7 last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think to myself, where has time gone? And I wrote about it's 43 years ago since I signed for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny how the back in the third division, as I would call it,
yes,
now, Championship 1 as it is now. Or back then I would say third division, but Championship 1 as it is now. So It's unreal how time flies, and the older you get, the quicker it seems to go, Gabbie.
It does, yeah, and you're right. I mean, when you joined them, they were in the third division. They're back now, 43 years on, in the third division. A club like Sheffield Wednesday should be in the Premier League. Sheffield Wednesday are a massive club, and in terms of honours, the biggest club in Yorkshire. You know, Wednesday should not be where they are, but you got them back with your teammates into the Championship. Unfortunately, you didn't get them back into the First Division, but they then did get back into the First Division. How does it make you feel when you've done all that to get them back and then they get relegated? As a fan, that must really knock.
What the older I get, the more I look back and I always think to myself, people always look at me and say to me, what a great player you were. And I've had that from people like George Best and all that. When I went to Sheffield Wednesday, come out of First Division, you know, when I look at it now, it was crazy because, you know, you're never going to get the recognition. And I wanted to take Sheffield Wednesday back up into the old First Division. We didn't do it now, but we're only 1 point off it, Gabbie.
Yeah, exactly.
Only 1 point. And if Jack, I mean, Jack used to talk to me a lot. People don't understand this. Jack used to talk to me a lot about players. What do I think of this player? What do I think of that player? I told you the story about Peter Beardsley, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know, and I said to him, Jack, you know, if we get 3 players, right? And he said, we're going through spine again in the team. You know, the goalkeeper, centre half, and another striker, because Andy's legs were starting to go. We needed a better quality of a centre half. Every time you go up, you need better players in there. Of
course you do.
And we needed another goalkeeper to give us that bit more stableness at the back. And if he'd have got those 3, we'd have gone up. And Jack would have been, I mean, still a legend, but he would have been a bigger legend.
Yeah.
Because I left that season. He stayed for another season. Now Wilkinson comes in, buys 3 players, centre forward, centre half, goalkeeper, boom, goes up. But there's something about Sheffield Wednesday. It's a massive football club, and I think it's won more trophies than any other Yorkshire football team.
Yeah, it has.
But it's never thought big like Leeds do, or the Elite 6 clubs do in this country, because the owners have always looked at it. Well, we can get 30,000 people in there. But I look at big clubs, the foundation of the fan base and the club itself, you know, the stadium itself.
Yeah.
And it is a massive club, right? Other people look at it different. I get that. You know, when you say, what is a massive club? They've got to win trophies. Well, of course.
They're still a massive club. And if you can get 40, 50, 60,000, you're a big club. Whether you win or not, you're still a big club.
But I get where they're coming from, because it's just another, not an argument, another debate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I get that. But I look at it as you've just said there, covered it brilliantly. When you can get 40, 50, 60,000 people, Rangers and Celtic, they're giants of a football club. Giants.
Yeah.
Right? And they may not win anything in the Premier League, how they stand now. But I guarantee you one thing, if they got the same money, they won't be having the same players.
Absolutely.
And that's what you've got to look beyond.
Yep.
Just like I told everyone about Arteta.
Yep, you did.
Right? And one or two of my mates turned him around and said, well, is he the Cone, not Coleman, but the Cone man for Guardiola? No, he's his own man. And it takes time to build up, especially when the big clubs, to get the deadwood out, what he doesn't want. Right? And it doesn't mean that Aubameyang has failed because he's gone to Barcelona and done quite well. For some unknown reason, them two might not get on.
It's a win-win. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a win-win for both of them because Arsenal look a lot better team without him, and he looks a better player without being an Arsenal team.
Yep.
So, brilliant. So, at the end of the day, I'm like you. Birmingham is a massive club, but it falls by the wayside because it doesn't win anything.
Yeah.
You know, and regardless when they talk about the Premier League, they only talk about the Elite 6 anyway. You don't even talking about Norwich, do you?
Absolutely.
Or Burnley.
100% CC. These days, it's all about...
You're all going about Premier League. They all going about, you know, you said to me, There's more than football. Premier League's more. What's the word saying? You're saying Premier League's not all about football, right? But even the Premier League, it's only the top 6.
Yeah.
They don't talk about the other clubs in that league.
They're not interested. All they're interested in is the top 6 team and the Champions League.
They're still trying to push for this Super League.
Absolutely. That they'll eventually they will get it, whether it's wrapped up in different paper, but they will get what they want. A league of super big teams that play in Europe, and when you play a certain amount of games per season, I'm sorry, that's not a cup, that's a league. By stealth, it will be the Super League.
They're ruining the national team football.
Absolutely.
Who wants to watch all these games what they're playing now? Seriously, Gabbie.
No, I know.
You'll get 1 or 2, and I get that.
Yeah.
I do get that. Right? You'll get the anoraks of football, but they're ruining the international league, right? And they will ruin football in general if they get a Super League.
Oh, absolutely. Agreed.
Because what anybody tells me, I don't give a damn who it is, not one of them teams will want to finish at the bottom.
No.
Not one. And they have ruined football. I'll tell you this now. They're not bothered about football fans. You know that, don't you?
Of course they're not. They're not bothered about football. They just want the money.
They don't want the fans at the ground. And what I mean by that, and listen me out to this, what I'm going to say to you. They don't want the ordinary fan at the football ground. They want the ordinary fan to buy the TV, right? The TV, pay for the TV. You know what I mean? To watch
100%. Stay at home and fill the ground with corporates.
They want the corporate. Yeah. That's what they want the ground for.
100%.
Make no mistake. And I told everybody about all this years ago what they would do. Right? So anybody comes to me and say to me about foreign managers and all that, they allowed it. Because what they allow were football coaches, anyone to come into football coaching. And we finished it with, we are being funny to anybody, we finished it with bad coaches.
Yeah.
And yes, men. And I'll say, ass lickers.
Yeah.
And they've ruined our game. Because it ain't our game anymore. It belongs to the foreigners, Europe, and the rest of the world, because we get them from all over the world. And I'm not against that. I'm against what they've allowed us to be pushed down, where we've only, I bet 29% of English players playing in the Premier League.
Absolutely.
Or maybe 30%.
Yeah, we've created a monster, and we've been all swallowed up by this most unwelcome beast.
And we can't get out of it.
No,
by the way,
impossible.
what did I tell you about that Italian team? That was the luckiest team ever to win the European Championship. Well, they weren't exact. Greece were the luckiest team.
Yeah.
I said to you they weren't a good team. I told you that. And they've now not qualified again for a World Cup.
Yeah, it looks as though he's going to be coming back to the Premier League, doesn't he,
Roberto Mancini? Because anybody tells me Southgate's had 2 great chances to win
100%.
2 major tournaments and
100%.
blown it.
Yeah, 100%.
And blown it.
100%.
And I tell you what, I don't think anybody's had a group of players like we've got now. I mean, what they call it, generation, Gerrard and all them, what a great generation, badly coached.
I still say the 70s was better.
But I'm talking about now.
Yeah, in recent times, it's by far the best.
The late 60s, 70s were great football. We did win something. We were close to winning something. But this generation, right, this last 5 to 6, 8 years, we've had a great bunch of players, and we haven't had a manager what can get the balance right. We've had managers what they won't give it to 70s and early 80s. So everything we get, we deserve, because nobody has stood up to them. There's only been stood up to them. And you get shot down. So
absolutely, TC. Again, all down to bad management, and all the podcasts that I do with Uddy, My Life, My Music, and Hudson's American Dream. It's a case of if only and bad management. And second up is Arrivederci Swansea, the Giorgio Chinaglia story. I'm doing a podcast without. We were going to do it last Sunday, but we had a technical hitch and we couldn't. But it's going to make more sense because when we do it, we look back at the NASL when Giorgio Chinaglia was the top goal scorer for New York Cosmos, and we also look at the now as well. And Anthony's one of the coaches at America, so by the time we record it, hopefully, well, they should be in the World Cup. So the Giorgio Chinaglia story, how a third division reject became a Serie A superstar by Mario Rizzoli. Now, when you see Arrivederci Swansea, I thought he was born in Swansea, but he wasn't, Giorgio. He was born in Italy, in Tuscany, in Italy, and his family come to live in Cardiff. And it
Yeah.
was when he played for Cardiff Schools, he got spotted by Swansea Town and then went to Swansea Town. But I'm looking forward to this podcast because there was a game that in Rome, that Lazio played against Ipswich Town that probably is one of the biggest brawls, I think it's fair to say, the biggest game that two European teams have played, where it literally kicked off, and that was because when Ipswich went over with a 4-0 lead, the ultras of Roma took a photograph of Trevor Weinmark receiving a placard from them to congratulate Trevor for scoring 4 goals against Lazio. And when they saw it in the Roman papers, they went absolutely balmy. As a result of what happened in that game, Lazio got banned from playing in Europe for 3 years, and they won the Scudetto for the first time in 73-74, and it stopped them playing in the European Cup. But trust me, that game, it didn't half kick off before, during, and after. And this was a Lazio team that were obsessed with guns as well. And it's all in this book, Arrivederci Swansea, the Giorgio Chinaglia story. So it's going to be a great book for me to read and a great podcast for me to make. And finally, TC, get it on. I've just done a podcast with the author, John Sperling, an Arsenal supporter, tremendous lad, a wonderful book. We were talking for an hour about the 70s. For me, the greatest decade ever in football. And in the most recent edition of When Saturday Comes, there's a lovely advertisement for the said book. Bitebackpublishing.com, the publishers. I got my book via Amazon, like I do with all of the books, and this is a book that really is getting a lot of publicity. And I did ask John, why get it on? And he said it was my favourite record of the 70s,
Record,
Gabbie.
yeah.
Yeah, by T-Rex. So, yeah, fantastic. And as we speak, TC, my wife has just handed, because there'll be no vacuum firing up tonight because she's out with the pals. She's looking great. And she's just handed me a book, and I'm just going to open it. Another book that I've ordered, and it is The Last Busby Babe, autobiography of Sammy
I mean,
McElroy, MBE.
yeah,
Sorry?
I was reading clips of it on Facebook the day George Best left him at train station.
Yeah. I mean, he had a great career, Sam. He actually played for Stoke City when Uddy was there, but he was the last player that Matt Busby bought and made his debut, I think, in, what was it, 1970-71 season against Manchester City, and scored on his debut. There's a lovely story. I'm not going to spoil anything, but he went to get some fish and chips, and what happened next was absolutely incredible. But it will be all in this book, The Last Busby Babe, autobiography, Sammy McElroy, MBE, with Wayne Barton. And Wayne has wrote many a story. In fact, he wrote the book about George Best, and I made a podcast with Wayne. That's all up there, SRBMedia. You can find it on Spotify and all the usual outlets for our podcast. So yeah, that is Book Corner finito tonight, TC. It's been a busy one.
Yes, I mean all these books you're helping everyone, the publishers, the authors, the people what they've got the names of the book, and they'll not get better publicity than this, Gabbie, because, like you say, we've got a base now. Even on my wall of over 3,000, you've got Uddy, you've got everybody else what comes into it. So you could have a right fan base for everything, for your podcast, and it brings everything out, even football from yesteryear. You do fascinate us and give us some valuable information of things what have happened.
To listen to the rest of this podcast, please go to www.patreon.com/SRBmedia, or just follow the links in the description. Thank you.